Can you make money with 3D printing in 2018? Yes? No? Maybe? Let's get started. How's it going, guys? Angus here from Muse, and I was going to go out today, but, well, yeah. So instead, I thought I'd record an update to a video I did 3 years ago talking about how you can make money with 3D printing. Things have certainly changed quite a bit. We're well past the hype bubble of 3D printing and well into the practical, functional side of the technology. But can you still make money 3D printing? Like, is there still money in this space? Well, yes, I believe there is. And in this video, I'm going to go through different ways I believe you can make money with 3D printing, but also talk about some of the challenges you'll no doubt encounter. So I believe there's 5 different ways you can make money in the 3D printing space. Print on demand, sell your own models, print as part of the design process, be the middleman or the 3D printing expert or consultant, and finally, teach and share knowledge in the 3D printing space. And I'm going to go through all of these individually, starting with the one everyone thinks of, printing on demand. Now, the idea of this is simple. Someone has a design or a file, an STL file, and they send it to you, you print it out and send it back to them. So if you've got a 3D printer sitting around, it can be tempting to think, okay, I'm going to print things for people on demand and make a little bit of extra coin on the side to pay for filament and keep the machine going. So to do that, you might be considering listing your service on a website like TreatStock or Make XYZ, or I would have usually suggested 3D Hubs, but that's now changed to be more professional level 3D printing on demand. And people come to those websites, submit their files, and the website will spit out a price and send the order to your hub. Sounds great, right? Well, yeah, not really. The thing is, printers have become increasingly cheaper these days, whereas customer expectations have kind of skyrocketed, mostly because of media pumping them with the idea that 3D printing is this magical technology that makes things perfectly first time and should somehow be cheaper than traditional processes. So let's say, for example, you have your service listed and someone sends this file through. So this is my Easter egg torture test. And it does print, but it's extremely challenging and it takes a very long time to print. So the price to expectation for this is very disjointed for an average Joe who just sees this and thinks it should cost 10 bucks. Which is the challenge I encountered on a daily basis when I ran a print studio. Yes, this was my full-time job. People would come in, submit files, and we would print for them. And unfortunately, more often than not, the price we would come back with was way beyond their ridiculous expectations. There's also the turnaround time. Now, there's this pressure to turn around files within 24 hours, that sort of thing, and it's just difficult and not usually realistic because 3D printers still aren't all that reliable. I just had a print fail this morning on my Prusa Mark III because I turned it onto silent mode and it lost steps. And this is a modern 3D printer that is cheap compared to professional level ones, but it's still, you'd expect it to be a little bit more reliable in that mode. But if you're committed to doing a print on demand service, I do have a few pointers. Personally, I would go at it alone and maybe list your services as a secondary source of income. I am a sole trader, and in Australia you can get an ABN very easily. It's the same in many other countries. And if you do that and operate as a business, then your printer becomes a tax-deductible asset. Then you have filament that you're printing, and that becomes a tax-deductible expense. So that way, you actually start running it as a legitimate business. And if you have a source of loyal customers and you treat them well, they will come back to you personally, which means you have no third-party payments, and you know that that customer understands the process, understands that yes, FDM prints have layers and they are obvious and they're going to come out looking like injection molded parts. There's also the consideration on pricing that I personally would say charge what the client can afford. These online sites usually people go for the cheapest, and that's a really poor way to do business. You want to provide a high quality service and a higher price to match it. Personally, I used to charge a $75 minimum for printing on demand, because anything less than that was not worth my time. It's a real stuff around, especially if the file has issues, and I know that clients that pay a higher amount usually are more professional. That's just how I treated it. I know that some people like to print on a lower price to make it more accessible, but if you're going to do that, just consider doing it for free for friends. There's a certain level where people pay some money and they expect heaps of service. So if you're going to charge, I would charge what the client can afford, and I would try to go to the higher end of that. Okay, number 2, sell your models. And I kind of prefer this route versus printing on demand because you have full control over the outcome of the part. People who just give you files don't understand the final product, but you do. You're the designer, and you can fine-tune models like this one that work on 3D printers. Now, there's various options to sell your models. You can obviously print them yourself on your printer and take them to a physical location. For example, you can go to a market. There's many free markets all around the world, or very cheap. You can get a stall, sell your models, or you could do a pop-up shop, or you can sell them online through a website. Also, there's companies like Shapeways that have their online marketplace that print on demand your models, and then they ship them directly to the customer and they give you a cut. It's a really good way of having no stock, and you can have all these designs, make sure they work well, and then just have them online and people can buy them, and then Shapeways makes them on the spot and sends them out a week later or so. It's a really good way to do it. You're not going to get a huge amount of money through that because they are taking quite a large cut using their professional systems. But I have seen people find huge success in selling their 3D printable parts, especially if they have a unique niche use and you can't get them anywhere else. Remember, you're giving them the 3D print, not the model. They can't print it at home. So Nerf gun modifications, massive thing to get printed customizable upgrades. And that's just an example. I know lots of kids made a lot of money during the fidget spinner craze, 3D printing fidget spinners. So my advice in this sector is to find a niche market that you can dominate and make a niche product for that market where they'll pay a fair amount for it. Again, you don't want to be trying to compete on price. That's never going to end well. Find something that you're good at and people will pay fair dollar for because it's something that they really need or want. Also, another option in this field is to sell the STL files. There are, again, websites that offer this. I personally make an income through Gumroad, selling STL files through Maker's Muse. For example, this is my one-way mechanism, which no matter which way you turn it, the output is always clockwise. The video went crazy. And I sell this file through Gumroad, and it's fully 3D printable. I know it works. I've spent a lot of time and effort making sure it's fully 3D printable. And I don't sell the final 3D print, I sell the file for people to print on their machines at home. Option number 3 is to incorporate 3D printing as part of the design process and charge for it. Now, this one is potentially the most lucrative. Now, I am trained as an industrial designer, and what that means is people come to me with concepts, and I will draw and create that concept into a product. And it could be anything, and you need to use 3D printing during this design and prototyping stage to get a physical prototype to show the customer. I was working on a utility aid for the elderly once, and we went through about 20 3D printed prototypes to help the customer, the client, understand the feel and ergonomics and like the action of the tool. And the thing is, they are a captured audience. They're working with you because you're the designer, therefore you can charge a pretty hefty fee for your printing services. Traditionally, you would have had to outsource it, but these days you can easily justify a decent 3D printer within your studio to charge for the use of it, for the use of printing prototypes. It's very unlikely that someone will be actually hiring you to do design work and then will say, no, I don't want a prototype. You're gonna be able to get some money through that. Obviously though, this is restricted to people who are skilled in this area. It takes many years to become skilled as a designer. I went to uni for 4 years to study industrial design. But if you can pull it off, then it's a very worthy addition to the overall design process. Number 4 is to be the middleman. Now this sounds a bit dirty, but it's not really. Consider that most people don't understand the full breadth of 3D printing technologies. They think it's just this magical thing, but when it's not, and if someone comes to you as a consultant to get something made, you don't necessarily have to print it in-house. There's many companies that offer 3D printing services with multi hundreds of thousands of dollar machines, SLS or large SLA systems, and they can come to you, these clients can come to you, and then you can outsource to these bigger companies and then take your cut. Therefore, they get a high quality product, and it's exactly what they're after because you are skilled and knowledgeable in the area of 3D printing to lead them to the direct location. For example, I made a model of a mining truck when I was working in the industry, and this thing was about yay long with 5 cars, and I got their full assembly in SolidWorks of the real truck, and I used my skills to convert it into a 3D printable model, which was like an Airfix kit, and I sent the STL files to a company to SLS 3D print them. So we didn't print them in-house, I outsourced that. I charged a premium on top of it, and then I charged for the design work and the assembly work. The real danger of this though is you lose control. If this other company stuffs up or makes a mistake or they're late or the machines break down, you have to answer to the client about that. And that has happened to me and it sucks. So make sure you have a really trusted network of suppliers that you can outsource to if you want to go down this route. Don't just get a job in and then find someone randomly because it's probably going to end in tears and you will be answerable for it, which sucks. Finally, my number 5 for making money in 3D printing is to educate, and that's what I do. I run Maker's Muse, a YouTube channel to empower creativity through technology, and I love passing on my skills and knowledge in additive manufacturing processes to you for free here on YouTube. But I do have additional resources that I charge for. For example, if you want to learn the ins and outs of FDM 3D printing, I have an ebook which is 50 3D printing tips and tricks, which has been built up over the years I've worked in the industry, just little things that make your life easier when you're running FDM 3D printers. That's an ebook that I do charge for, and I have it here on Gumroad. And for example, if you want to support the channel, you can go through Patreon, which is a monthly thing that helps support the channel. And then obviously if you got an ad before this video, that helps a small amount to keeping the channel going. So that's how I monetize my knowledge of 3D printing. But if you are skilled in any sort of branch of manufacturing processes, you can consider running courses in person. You can consider making educational content like I do, and you can consider using this knowledge to actually bring you in a sustainable income. And that's what I subscribe to, but as I said in this video, there are many ways you can make money through 3D printing in 2018. So thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope this video helped you find that niche or avenue that you might want to consider to make your 3D printing hobby into a fully fledged business. And if you want to see more of this sort of thing, let me know in the comments, guys, because I could very easily write a book with my knowledge on running a 3D printing business, because I basically did it for 3 years and I'm still doing it now, although it's a little bit different these days. And I would actually love to put pen to paper and share my knowledge. So let me know in the comments what you think. I look forward to seeing you again very shortly here on Maker's Muse. Catch you later, guys. Bye.